In module 1, we are seeing 8085 microprocessor, its architecture, operation, the best structure of 8085. And in this module, we will be seeing the timing diagrams, the instruction sets, and the different peripheral interfacing using with 8085. We'll start with the topic machine cycles and best timings. So we are seeing this particular table in the last module. So you can see the different machine cycles like opcode fetch, memory read, memory write, IO read, IO write. So those are different machine cycles. And what are the status signals required to make this particular machine cycles? Okay, we are seeing this particular diagram. So you can see that for the opcode fetch, the status signal read required is 0, 1, 1. For memory read, it is 0, 1, 0, etc. No, okay. So before we start with the machine cycle and timings, let's see the definitions of few terms associated with it. Let's start with the timing diagram. So before we start the timing diagram, let's see the terms associated with the timing diagram. So you can see the instruction cycle. So the instruction cycle is the time required to complete the execution of an instruction. So this instruction cycle, a particular instruction cycle will be made using a number of machine cycles. Okay, so we are seeing the different machine cycles like opcode fetch, memory read, memory write, etc. So you can see the definition of machine cycle as the time required to complete one operation of accessing the memory or IO device. Okay, so this machine cycle will be made using a number of T states. So what it means by T state is the one subdivision of the operation performed in one clock period. So let's see, over here you can see the relation between instruction cycle, machine cycle and T state. So a number of T states are required to complete a machine cycle. A number of machine cycle are required to complete a particular instruction. So the term clock signal, so we are having a time period for the clock signal. So over here you can see that you can see a particular clock signal, and you can say that a single clock period as one T state. Okay. We'll see a typical timing diagram. So these are the terms inside the timing diagram. You can see you are having a particular signal. T1, T2, T3 represents 3 clocks or 3 T states. You can see the clock signal, and after that A8 to A15 is the higher order address. AD0 to AD7, it represents the lower order address, as well as in some cases it will be the data. So A7 to A0 or D7 to D0, and that selection is done based on the ALE. The next signal is the address latch enabled. So when it is high, in that point AD0 to AD7 is considered as address. When it is low, that bus is considered as data bus. And after that you can see the status signals IO bar, M bar, S1, S0, a combination of that. Its value will be represented over there, so we can understand what kind of operation we are going to perform. And after that we will be specifying the control signal, whether it is a read operation or write operation, whether it is a memory read or IO read, IO write, or memory write operation. So we'll start with the topic, the timing diagram. So let's start with the timing diagrams. So let's take an example machine cycle. Let's take the example opcode fetch. Opcode fetch is a machine cycle. So opcode fetch is basically a memory read. Only difference is that in the case of opcode fetch, you are going to read the memory, and the data that you are taking from the memory is basically an instruction. So that data will have to be moved to the instruction register in order to do the decoding of the instruction. Okay, so the status signal for the opcode fetch is that IO bar, M bar signal is 0, S0, S1 values are 1, 1. Okay, now you can see at the top different T states, the clock signal, and after that you can see the higher order memory address, and the address bus lines are A8 to A15, the higher order address. and that is fixed. uh, Coming down, you can see the next bus, the multiplex bus AD7 to AD0, which can be used for the lower order memory address or for the data bus. So how do we decide it? So that is done using the ALE signal. So in the first state, in the state T1, you can see that the ALE signal goes high. So it denotes that this bus AD7 to AD0 is being utilized as A7 to A0. So the lower order memory value will be getting updated over there. So when ALE is high, the bus is being used for address. So altogether you are having A15 to A0, a 16-bit address. So right now you can say that the combination 2005 is your memory address. 2005H is your memory address. Okay, and you can see the ALE signal, and just below that you can see the IO bar, M bar signal, and also the status signal. You can simply mention the status signal inside that. Okay, now and after that, at the bottom you can see the read signal, and that is initially high. You are not going to read anything, so that value is high. In order to read something, you need to make it as 0. Why? Because RD bar is a active low signal. Okay, now after few duration, ALE signal goes low, so the address, the lower order address is being latched into the latch. Now you are specified the address. Next thing is that from that address, memory address, you are going to fetch the opcode. That is basically a memory read operation. So in state T2, you can see that the ALE signal has gone low. Now you are going to do the read operation. So the RD bar signal goes low in T2. Okay, so that gives an information to the memory device to read the data from the location 2005. Okay, so the memory is being read, and you can see that right now, and the data which has been read from there is 4F. Okay, that is the opcode that has been taken from the memory, that is being loaded into AD7 to AD0. So at present ALE signal is 0, which means that that bus can be used for the data bus. So it can be named as D0 to D7. In D0 to D7 you are having the value 4FH, that is the data that has been read from the memory, which is basically the opcode in this case. And after that you can see that the opcode has been fetched in by the state T3, the state T3, the entire data will be read. So on the previous slide we have seen the opcode fetch, which took 4 T states, T1, T2, T3, T4 to complete the operation. Now the opcode fetch is also a kind of memory read operation. Only difference is that in the case of opcode fetch you are taking an instruction. So why is this memory read over here? You can see that it took only 3 T states, but the opcode fetch took 4 T states. Why? Because is that after fetching the instruction you need to decode it. So that's why you are having the fourth state T4 in order to complete the decoding of the instruction. So that's why opcode fetch is having 4 T states, T1, T2, T3 and T4. An extra state is required to decode the instruction from the using the instruction decoder. So right now you can see the memory operation, which is same as the opcode fetch. Only difference is that we can stop it by T3. You don't have to decode anything. Why? Because you are taking the data directly from the memory, that is a data from the memory. So the same operations, initially you will be giving the address. After that the ALE signal goes low. After that since it is the memory read operation, the status signals are different. From the initial table you can get the status signal values. RD bar is the read operation, and RD bar is being used to generate mem read. So the same signal is also there for the opcode fetch, but we are not seeing that in the diagram, that's all. So the same procedure as you have seen for the opcode fetch, and you can stop the entire operation by 3 T states. Coming to the memory write operation, only difference from the previous slide is the instead of the read operation, you are going to activate WR bar. You are going to make the the write signal as 0, write bar signal as 0. That's how you can do the so the status signals are different. Here the status signal are different from the read operation and from the opcode fetch operation. So you'll have to study the table which we have seen in the initial slide. Okay, so you'll have to mention it over here. In this diagram it has not mentioned, so you have to mention the status signal in this particular diagram. Okay, so instead of the read signal, here you are having the write signal. So similarly, write signal will generate memory write signal also. Okay, so this is about the memory operations, the opcode fetch, memory read and memory write. Coming to the IO read, here also you will be specifying the address. It is the same process. Only difference over here is that in the case the only difference is that here you can see the IO bar M bar value is 1. You can see that signal, it has become 1. In the previous cases, IO bar M bar signal was 0, which denotes that that is a memory operation. Right now, IO bar M bar signal is 1, which denotes that it is an IO operation. Okay, so the same procedures in order to read the read operation, RD bar signal will go slow. If you want to write, WR signal goes low, and the corresponding status signal. When you're going for IO read, when you're going for read operation, S1 value is 1, S0 value is 0. So you'll have to study that particular table. The same option, the same diagram, only difference is in the IO bar M bar signal. Coming to the IO write signal, the same option. Instead of the read signal, you will be activating the write signal. Okay, so this is all about the different memory and IO operations. Now we will see an example for the timing diagram of instructions. So what you have seen till now was the timing diagram of the machine cycle. Now you are going to see the timing diagram of an instruction. So let's start with an example. So as we know that an instruction cycle is made using a number of machine cycles. Okay, so the meaning of this particular example, MVI A32H, is that you are going to load the accumulator, the A register, using a value 32H. So the accumulator A, the A register, the accumulator will be loaded, has to be loaded with the value 32H. Okay, so MVI A, 32H is a mnemonic or the assembly language code. So that's how the programmer writes it. But for the processor has to receive it as machine code. Okay, so what we see or the programmer see is the mnemonic. So the mnemonic over here is MVI A, 32. But how this is being stored inside a memory location is that it will be stored as a group of bits. You can call it as machine code. So it is a 2-byte instruction. So in order to represent this entire mnemonic, you need to have 2 bytes. Okay, so in memory location, you can take any sequential any memory location in a sequence. So the memory location 2000H contains the machine code 3EH. Okay, and in 2001H it contains the machine code 32H. Okay, so 3EH is basically the opcode. So when the processor fetches 3EH, he understands that the operation that has to be performed is MVI A, and in order to perform that operation you need to have a value. In this case it is 32H. So 32H is being stored in the memory location 2001. Okay, now so this is a 2-byte instruction. First you will have to fetch the opcode, and after that the memory read. Okay, now let's see how you are going to draw the timing diagram for MVI A, 32H. So first you're going to read the memory location 200H, and after that you are going to read the memory location 2001H. Okay. So first is the opcode fetch operation. It consists of 4 T states, and after that you are going to do the memory read operation, which requires 3 T states. Okay. Uh, okay. So in 2000H you are having the value 3E. In 2001 you are having the value 32H. So let's start the process. So first opcode fetch operation, you are going to give the higher order address A15 to A8 as 20H, AD7 to AD0 has been given as 00. ALE signal is high, which means that you are going to specify the memory address. So the status signal is 011, which indicates that you are going to do the opcode fetch operation. And after that the ALE signal goes low. Now that particular bus AD7 to AD0 can be used as the data bus. So from the location 200H you are going to fetch the value 3E. 3E is basically an opcode, so that value will be present in D7 to D0. Now the read operation is happening, and after that the read value, you are going to stop the read operation. You have fetched the opcode. Now your the processor will the instruction decoder will decode it and understands that the operation that you have to perform is MVI A. Okay, so the processor after decoding understands that the operation that has to be performed is MVI A, and in order to load the accumulator you need to read the data 32, which is present in the memory location, the next memory location. So he will start to do the memory read operation. So the next memory address that has to be given is 2001H. Again you are going to start the operation. The higher order memory address is being specified to 20H. The lower order address is being specified as 01H. The address latch enable goes high. Okay, the status signal is 010. Okay, after the address has been latched, ALE signal goes low. Now the memory address 2001 is being mapped. So from there you will be taking the value 32H will be loaded to the data bus, and that value will directly go to the accumulator. So altogether you can see that you are having, for this particular instruction you are having 2 machine cycles, and total number of T states is 7 T states. Now in order to find the execution time, suppose the given clock frequency is 2 MHz. So the clock frequency is 2 MHz and the clock period will be 0.5 microsecond. So in order to so one T state is having 0.5 microseconds. So in this example you can see that you need to have 7 T states. So the overall execution time of this particular instruction is 3.5 microsecond. Now we will see one more example. We are going to draw the timing diagram for the instruction STA526AH. Now let's see what is the meaning of this particular instruction. The meaning of STA is that this instruction writes or stores the contents of the accumulator into the memory location 526AH. I'll repeat it. STA means this instruction will be writing the contents which is present in the accumulator to the memory location 526AH. Okay, so this is basically a 3-byte instruction, and so 3 memory locations are required to write the opcode. Okay, so in the memory address 41FF 4200 4201, using the 3 address you will be storing the this particular instruction. Okay, so in 41FF you are having the opcode 32. So when the processor when the microprocessor fetches this value, and when he'll be fetching the opcode, right now the opcode is 32. So the processor understands that this is an STA instruction. So what is required for STA further? The thing is that when he reads 32H, when he decodes it, the processor understands that this is an STA instruction. Now for the STA instruction to be executed, the data has to be taken from the accumulator and it has to be returned to a memory location. So in order to specify the memory location, we need to have 16 bits. Okay, now in a particular memory location you can save only 8 bits. So using the combination of two memory location, you will be specifying 5 to 6A. In 4200 you will be storing 6A. In 4201 you will be specifying 52H. Okay, so 3 bytes are required to execute this particular instruction. And let's see how many machine cycles are required. In this case we need to have 4 machine cycles and 13 T states. So let's see why it is 4 machine cycles and 13 T states. Now let's start the timing diagram. So as always you are going to do the opcode fetch. So the status signal is 0 1 1. Now you can see the order, the clock signal. In this case you are having a slight difference. There is no much difference over here. AD0 to AD7 is the and after that it has been specified as A8 to A15. You can do it in any way, that's okay. So the ALU goes high, which means that you are going to use the address bus. So you are having 41FF is your address. You are going so the address has been mentioned. After that ALU goes low, you are going to do the read operation. You are going to do the opcode fetch. So 32H is being fetched, and the processor decodes it using the instruction decoder and understands that is STA operation. Okay, so the processor, the microprocessor understands that he need to know to which address you need to store the or load the accumulator value. So the opcode fetch is over using 4 T states. After that the processor understands, the microprocessor understands that you need to read the memory location. So the memory location is to which you need to write the accumulator value is 5 to 6A, and that is present in two locations, in 4200 as well as 4201. Okay, so you need to do two memory read operations. So the first memory read, you're going to specify the address as 4200. You're going to read the data 6A, so that data is kept over there. Again you're going to do the memory read operation 4201. From there you are going to fetch the data 52. So right now using that combination 526A, the processor got the address to which the accumulated data has to be written. Now we are going for the memory write operation. Okay, so till now you were operating on RD bar. Right now in the third machine cycle we are going for memory write operation. So in that case WR bar will go low over there. Okay, so we are not using the RD bar signal, you are using WR signal in the final machine cycle. Now the address to which you need to write the value is 5 to 6A. So you can see that in the third machine cycle the address is 5 to 6A. So that particular location is being identified, and the accumulator content 67H will be returned to the address 526A. So this is how this particular instruction cycle is being mentioned. So altogether you can say that there are 4 machine cycles: opcode fetch, 2 memory reads and a memory write, and altogether you can say that you are having 13 T states. So we are seeing 2 examples of the instruction cycle. So as a part of tutorial you can find out the instruction cycle, the timing diagram of instructions IN, the in as well as out instructions. So in the presentation you can see the details. You can just identify it, you can analyze it and find out the number of T states or the number of machine cycles required for in instruction as well as out instruction. So these are the corresponding opcode values. for the in instruction, and the out instruction the definition is being written, and the timing diagram. So we are seeing the timing diagrams for different machine cycles and instruction cycle. In the coming parts we will be seeing the uh, different addressing modes as well as the different instruction sets of 8085. Thank you.